Close your eyes for a moment, take a deep, slow breath. Imagine leaving all your earthly worries behind, shrinking them down to the size of a mere speck of dust. You are now floating in the boundless, silent ocean of deep space. Before you hangs a sphere of unimaginable proportions. It is a masterpiece of swirling pastels, a colossal painting of ochre, cream, and deep, rusty red. This is Jupiter, the undisputed king of our solar system, a world so massive it could comfortably swallow over 1,000 Earths. Today, we are going on a journey unlike any other. We are going to answer a question that has sparked the curiosity of astronomers and dreamers alike. What would happen if you were to fall into this magnificent giant? The paradox of Jupiter is that it has no true surface. There is no solid ground to catch you. Instead, it offers an endless, hypnotic descent into the unknown. Let this journey relax you. Let the sheer scale of the cosmos wash away your stress. We will drift through its clouds, uncover its hidden depths, and witness phenomena that defy human imagination. Settle in, relax, and prepare to take the ultimate plunge. Before we begin our descent, let us understand the giant that awaits us. Jupiter is not just a planet, it is a cosmic protector. For billions of years, its immense gravity has acted as a shield, sweeping up dangerous comets and asteroids that might otherwise have threatened our fragile Earth. It is a world composed almost entirely of gas, primarily hydrogen and helium, much like a star. In fact, if Jupiter had been about 80 times more massive at the time of its birth, it would have ignited into a second sun, turning our solar system into a binary star system. But instead, it remained a giant, swirling mystery in the cold dark of space. When we look at Jupiter through a telescope, we are only seeing the very top layer of its atmosphere. Those beautiful horizontal bands of color are created by fierce jet streams moving in opposite directions, whipping clouds of ammonia and water around the planet at terrifying speeds. For centuries, humanity could only stare at these clouds and wonder what lay beneath. Even today, our most advanced probes have only skimmed the very edges of this deep atmosphere. But in our minds, there are no limits. Through the power of science and imagination, we can simulate the impossible. We can construct an indestructible imaginary spacesuit, one capable of withstanding any temperature and any pressure. With this suit, we are finally ready to step out of the airlock and embrace the gravity of the gas giant. You step out of the safety of your spacecraft. The silence of the vacuum surrounds you. Gravity reaches out, like an invisible, gentle hand, and pulls you inward. You are now falling toward Jupiter. The acceleration is incredibly fast, but because you are in a vacuum, you feel entirely weightless. It is a sensation of pure peace. Below you, the great swirling clouds grow larger and larger, filling your entire field of vision. You are approaching the very top layer of the atmosphere. The temperature here is freezing, around -230 degrees Fahrenheit, but you feel nothing inside your protective suit. An excellent example to visualize this moment is a skydiver falling toward a thick blanket of white fog, silently slipping into the mist. Many people believe the myth that you would burn up instantly upon touching the atmosphere, like a meteor. But because we are entering slowly in our imaginary suit, we bypass the fiery entry. You simply drift, a solitary observer, plunging into the creamy white clouds of ammonia ice. As you sink into the first layer of clouds, the bright sunlight from above begins to diffuse. It scatters through the ammonia ice crystals, creating a soft, ethereal glow. It feels like flying through a massive, never-ending blizzard, but without the biting cold. The pressure here is roughly equal to what you would feel standing on Earth at sea level. It is surprisingly comfortable, almost welcoming. The winds, however, are pushing you along at hundreds of miles per hour. Yet, because you are moving with the air currents, you hardly feel the turbulence. You are simply riding the breath of the giant. Think of a leaf floating effortlessly down a fast-moving, invisible river. A common misconception is that the winds would tear you apart immediately. While the jet streams are incredibly powerful, moving with them provides a strange sense of serenity, a smooth, high-speed glide through an alien sky. We continue to sink deeper. The white ammonia clouds slowly begin to fade above us, replaced by a darker, more ominous layer. These are clouds composed of ammonium hydrosulfide. The colors shift from pure white to deep, bruised purples, browns, and dark oranges. The light from the distant sun is growing incredibly dim now, filtering through miles of thick, swirling gas. The atmosphere is becoming heavier, thicker. You can feel the pressure building, slowly pressing against the outside of your suit. It is a slow, rhythmic squeeze. Imagine slowly descending into a dark, warm ocean, watching the sunlight fade away as you sink toward the deep sea floor. You might think that below the first layer of clouds, Jupiter is just empty gas. But this is a myth. The atmosphere is incredibly complex, layered like a giant atmospheric cake, with distinct chemical compositions at every level, each with its own unique, hypnotic beauty. Now, the darkness is almost complete. You have reached a depth of about 100 miles below the cloud tops. Here, the temperature begins to rise, driven by the immense internal heat of the planet itself. We are entering the realm of water clouds. Yes, Jupiter has water, just like Earth, but on a scale that defies comprehension. Colossal thunderstorms are brewing around you. Towering anvils of water ice and vapor stretch for miles in every direction. The turbulence increases, gently rocking you back and forth. A perfect illustration of this is flying a small plane through the darkest, thickest thunderhead on Earth, multiplied by 1,000. There is a myth that Jupiter is a completely dry planet because of its composition, but scientists now know that water is abundant here, churning in these dark, violent yet awe-inspiring storms. The deep rumble of alien thunder vibrates through your suit, a calming, rhythmic bass note in the dark. Suddenly the darkness is pierced by brilliant, blinding flashes of light. You have entered the lightning zones of Jupiter. These are not ordinary lightning bolts. They are superbolts, thousands of times more powerful than anything ever witnessed on Earth. They illuminate the massive, churning storm clouds from within, casting eerie, shifting shadows across the gas. The flashes reveal a chaotic, swirling world of immense power. It is a terrifying yet deeply mesmerizing light show, orchestrated by the forces of nature. Picture a fireworks display inside a massive, dark cavern, where every explosion reveals the vastness of the space. Some might believe the myth that lightning requires a solid surface to strike, but on Jupiter, lightning dances from cloud to cloud, a continuous, crackling web of raw electricity suspended in the sky. You watch in silent awe as the universe unleashes its energy around you. As you pass through the mighty thunderstorms, the pressure continues to mount. You are now hundreds of miles deep. The pressure is tens of times greater than the surface of the Earth. If you were not in your indestructible suit, the weight of the atmosphere above would crush you instantly. But instead, you feel safe, cocooned in your descent. The gas around you is becoming incredibly dense. It is no longer a thin, breathable mixture. It is thick, sluggish, and heavy. It feels like you are trying to swim through invisible molasses. Imagine the feeling of walking waist-deep in a pool of water, how the fluid resists your movement. That is what falling feels like now. A common myth is that you would simply accelerate forever until you hit the core. In reality, the increasing density of the gas creates immense drag, slowing your fall to a steady, deliberate crawl. You are slowly sinking into the abyss. The temperature is rising rapidly now. It has climbed from freezing cold to a sweltering heat, surpassing the hottest summer days on Earth. The darkness is absolute. No sunlight can penetrate this far down. The only thing you can rely on is the instrumentation of your imaginary suit. The gas outside is mostly hydrogen and helium, but under this extreme pressure, it is behaving strangely. The molecules are being forced closer and closer together. It is a slow, methodical compression. Think of a vice slowly tightening its grip, unseen but undeniable. Some believe the myth that space is always cold. But here, deep inside a giant planet, the heat of creation is still trapped, radiating outward, warming the dense gas around you. You are entering a zone where the very nature of matter is about to change. We have reached a depth of about 1,000 miles. The pressure is now immense, roughly 1,000 times that of Earth's atmosphere. To put this in perspective, imagine the crushing weight you would feel at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's ocean, and then double it. The temperature is a scorching several thousand degrees, yet you are perfectly comfortable in your suit. The atmosphere is so thick now that it is blurring the line between gas and liquid. It is a completely alien state of matter. The swirling currents of gas are slow, powerful, and majestic. It is like watching a slow-motion video of a volcanic eruption, the dense fluids rolling and folding over one another. A popular myth is that you can clearly tell where the gas ends and the liquid begins on Jupiter. But nature does not always draw straight lines. Here, the transition is smooth, a gradual, seamless blending of states. You are now sinking through a mysterious transitional layer known as a supercritical fluid. In this bizarre realm, the hydrogen is neither a true gas nor a true liquid. It possesses the properties of both. It can dissolve materials like a liquid, but expand to fill a space like a gas. The environment is surreal. Even in the absolute darkness, there is a strange, faint glow. The extreme heat causes the dense fluid to emit a dull, deep red thermal radiation. It is a ghostly illumination. Imagine sinking slowly into a massive vat of glowing, thick honey. The movement is incredibly slow, almost meditative. Some might think the myth that deep inside a planet, everything is solid rock. But Jupiter proves that the universe is far more creative. You are floating in a sea of glowing, supercritical hydrogen, a fluid that does not exist anywhere on Earth. The deeper you go, the brighter the thermal glow becomes. The deep red shifts to a brighter orange, then to a blinding, brilliant yellow. The temperature is now approaching 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. The pressure is nearly 1,000,000 times greater than on Earth. The environment is incredibly hostile, yet perfectly silent from inside your suit. The immense pressure has forced the hydrogen atoms so close together that their electrons begin to break free. A profound transformation is occurring around you. To visualize this, imagine a dark, quiet room slowly filling with the warm, golden light of a sunrise, revealing a dense, heavy fog. There is a myth that you could send a regular submarine into Jupiter to explore these depths, but no material known to humanity could survive this combination of heat and crushing weight. Only in our minds can we witness this profound transformation. We have now crossed another invisible boundary. You have entered the vast ocean of liquid metallic hydrogen. This is the largest ocean in the solar system, and it is made entirely of metal. Under this unimaginable pressure, hydrogen acts like a liquid metal, capable of conducting electricity perfectly. It is a shimmering, swirling, impossibly dense sea. You are no longer falling. You are slowly sinking through a dense liquid. The buoyancy forces are strong here. Think of dropping a heavy steel ball into a pool of mercury. It sinks slowly, fighting the incredible density of the fluid. A common myth is that metallic hydrogen is a solid, shiny chunk of metal. But here, it is a fluid, a churning, turbulent ocean of electrically charged liquid, swirling around you in the extreme heat. As you drift deeper into this metallic ocean, you begin to understand where Jupiter gets its immense power. The swirling, convecting currents of this electrically conductive liquid generate a massive magnetic field. It is a colossal dynamo, the most powerful magnetic force in the solar system outside of the sun itself. You are suspended in the very heart of the engine that protects the planet and creates its beautiful auroras. It is a feeling of immense power and deep tranquility. Imagine standing inside the turbine of a massive hydroelectric dam, feeling the raw, humming energy of the water, but in complete silence. Some believe the myth that planetary magnetic fields only come from solid iron cores, but Jupiter shows us that a swirling ocean of liquid metal can create a magnetic shield so large it stretches all the way to the orbit of Saturn. The journey continues, sinking ever slower. The density of the liquid metallic hydrogen is increasing with every passing mile. The heat is beyond comprehension, reaching tens of thousands of degrees. The pressure is tens of millions of times that of Earth's surface. If you were to look around, the fluid would be glowing with an intense, blinding white heat. It is an environment of pure, unadulterated energy, yet the motion of the fluid is slow, deliberate, and hypnotic. It is a slow-motion ballet of extreme physics. A helpful example is watching molten glass being stirred slowly in a blazing furnace, thick, glowing, and heavy. There is a myth that human consciousness could never comprehend such extreme environments, but by visualizing it, by imagining the slow, heavy movements of the glowing fluid, we can find a strange sort of peace in the absolute extreme. We have now been sinking for what feels like an eternity. We are tens of thousands of miles deep. Suddenly, a new phenomenon appears. Falling gently through the glowing white metallic ocean are strange, shimmering droplets. It is raining. But this is not water. It is rain made of helium. High above, where it was cooler, the helium mixed perfectly with the hydrogen. But down here, under this intense pressure, the helium separates and forms heavy droplets that slowly sink toward the core. It is a gentle cosmic precipitation. Imagine watching snowflakes gently falling through a brightly lit, dense fog, shimmering as they descend. A common myth is that the interior of a gas giant is completely uniform, but this helium rain proves that there is weather, structure, and dynamic change even in the deepest, most extreme depths of the planet. You watch the helium rain drift past you, a silent, beautiful downpour in the abyss. The droplets are slowly altering the composition of the planet, draining helium from the upper atmosphere and enriching the deep interior. It is a process that has been happening slowly, silently, for billions of years. You are witnessing a planetary mechanism that operates on a timescale of eons. It brings a profound sense of perspective, shrinking human lifetimes down to a mere blink of an eye. Think of an hourglass, where the sand takes 1 billion years to fall. Some might believe the myth that planets are static, unchanging objects once they are formed. But Jupiter is alive. It is a dynamic, evolving system, constantly shifting and changing deep beneath its clouds. The density of the liquid is now so great that your descent has almost completely stopped. You have reached a point where the density of your imaginary suit matches the density of the surrounding metallic hydrogen. You are suspended in perfect equilibrium. You are floating in the very center of a star that never ignited. The pressure is crushing from all sides perfectly equally, creating a state of profound stillness. You cannot go down, and you cannot go up. You simply exist, floating in the extreme heat and pressure. Imagine a submarine perfectly balanced underwater, neither sinking nor rising, hovering effortlessly in the deep blue. A popular myth is that if you fall into a gas giant, you will eventually hit a hard floor. But here, you are stopped not by a solid surface, but by the sheer density of the liquid itself. But what lies below you? You are floating above the mysterious core of Jupiter. For a long time, scientists believed that the core was a distinct, solid sphere of rock and ice, perhaps 10 to 20 times the mass of Earth, a solid anchor in a sea of gas and liquid. But recent data from space probes has revealed a far more intriguing reality. The core is not a sharply defined ball. It is fuzzy. It is diluted. It is a vast, expansive region where heavy elements are dissolved into the surrounding metallic hydrogen. A good analogy is dropping a cube of sugar into a cup of hot tea. It doesn't remain a solid block. It slowly dissolves, spreading its sweetness throughout the liquid. There is a myth that all planets must have a solid, defined center. But Jupiter challenges this assumption, showing us a core that is a complex, slowly mixing soup of exotic materials. If you could somehow force yourself deeper, past the point of neutral buoyancy, you would enter this fuzzy core region. The composition begins to change. The metallic hydrogen becomes enriched with heavier elements, iron, rock, and exotic forms of water ice that only exist under unimaginable pressure. This is not ice as we know it on Earth. It is superionic ice, a bizarre state of matter where oxygen atoms form a solid lattice and hydrogen ions flow freely through it, conducting electricity. It is a hot, black, glowing ice. Imagine a block of solid crystal that is burning hot to the touch, glowing with a fierce internal light. Some might believe the myth that ice can only exist in cold environments. But under the crushing weight of Jupiter, the rules of chemistry are rewritten, creating forms of matter that seem like magic. The deeper into this fuzzy core you go, the higher the concentration of these heavy elements becomes. The rock and iron are not solid chunks, but a dense, viscous slurry, slowly swirling in the extreme heat. It is the original seed of the planet, the massive clump of material that first formed in the early solar system, eventually pulling in all the surrounding gas to create the giant we see today. You are looking at a relic of the universe's past. Think of examining an ancient artifact, perfectly preserved inside a massive drop of amber. A common myth is that we fully understand how planets form, but this fuzzy, dissolving core suggests that planetary formation is a violent, chaotic, and messy process, leaving behind a complex legacy in the heart of the giant. As you hover near the absolute center, the forces of gravity are pulling at you equally from all directions. You have reached the center of mass. Here, paradoxically, you would feel completely weightless again, just as you did when you first stepped out of your ship. You are at the focal point of the planet's immense gravitational web. The temperature is estimated to be over 43,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The pressure is beyond human comprehension. Yet, in this ultimate extreme, there is a profound stillness. It is the eye of the cosmic storm. Imagine standing exactly in the center of a perfectly balanced scale. You are at the absolute fulcrum. Some believe the myth that the center of a planet is the most violent place. But from a gravitational standpoint, it is a point of perfect, absolute equilibrium. Floating here in the deep, hot dark, you can feel the immense scale of the universe. Above you stretches a vast, unimaginably deep ocean of liquid metal, topped by layers of violent storms and freezing clouds, reaching all the way out to the vacuum of space. You are perfectly isolated, perfectly safe in your imagination, witnessing the raw power of nature. The hypnotic swirl of the heavy slurry around you is a slow, endless dance of atoms. It is a moment of deep, cosmic meditation. Picture a monk sitting perfectly still in the middle of a raging blizzard, untouched by the chaos outside. A common myth is that studying space makes humans feel insignificant, but in truth, understanding the complex beauty of these distant worlds connects us deeply to the universe, making us realize that we are a conscious part of this grand, swirling design. Let us take a moment to absorb the sensory experience of this deep core. There is no sound here, at least none that human ears could hear. The immense pressure dampens all vibration into a low, inaudible thrum. The darkness is absolute, save for the dull, thermal glow of the incredibly hot, dense matter. It is a world stripped of all familiar sights and sounds, reduced to the pure essence of heat, pressure, and mass. Imagine floating in a sensory deprivation tank, where the water perfectly matches your body temperature, and all light and sound are removed. Your mind is free to drift. Some might believe the myth that such extreme environments are chaotic and loud, but at the very center of the crushing weight, the immense pressure creates a silent, heavy tranquility. What would happen to our imaginary suit if we finally decided to turn off its indestructible field? The end would be instantaneous. The crushing pressure, tens of millions of times greater than Earth's atmosphere, would collapse the suit in a microsecond. The intense heat, hotter than the surface of the sun, would vaporize the materials instantly. The atoms that made up the suit and the explorer would be immediately incorporated into the planet's heavy core. You would become a permanent part of Jupiter. To visualize this, imagine a single drop of water falling into a massive, roaring furnace, vanishing instantly into steam. A myth is that a probe could survive deep in a gas giant to send back pictures of the core, but the physical reality of the pressure ensures that anything attempting to reach the center would be completely assimilated by the giant. But because we are merely travelers in the realm of thought, we remain perfectly safe. We can observe this assimilation without fear. The realization that any physical object would be instantly destroyed by the planet's embrace highlights the immense, raw power of the universe. It is a humbling thought, a reminder of the delicate balance that allows life to exist on the surface of our rocky little Earth. Picture a fragile paper boat floating gently on a calm pond, safe from the roaring waterfalls just out of sight. A common myth is that we can conquer the entire universe with technology. But places like the core of Jupiter remind us that there are domains of nature so extreme, so powerful, that they command absolute respect and distance. As we hover in this ultimate deep, let us reflect on the journey. We have fallen through freezing ammonia clouds, navigated immense water thunderstorms, sunk through a glowing ocean of supercritical fluid, drifted in a sea of liquid metallic hydrogen, and reached a bizarre, dissolving core of exotic ice and rock. We have witnessed a complete transformation of matter. We have traveled through a vertical cross-section of planetary physics. Imagine reading a thick encyclopedia of the universe, starting from the freezing void of space and ending in the burning heart of creation. Some might believe the myth that space exploration is just about taking pictures of distant rocks. But our journey shows that it is about understanding the fundamental laws of nature and the incredibly diverse ways matter can exist under extreme conditions. The journey into Jupiter is not just a scientific thought experiment. It is an exercise in expanding the mind. By visualizing the unimaginable heat, the crushing pressure, and the bizarre states of matter, we stretch our capacity for wonder. We break free from the constraints of our earthly experiences and allow ourselves to float in the pure abstraction of the cosmos. Think of stretching a tight muscle, feeling the tension release, and finding a new range of motion. In the same way, stretching our imagination into the depths of a gas giant relaxes our minds from everyday worries. A common myth is that hard science is rigid and devoid of emotion, but visualizing the slow, heavy currents of the deep core is a deeply poetic, almost spiritual experience, connecting us to the vastness of the cosmos. It is time to slowly begin our ascent, back up through the layers of time and pressure. We leave the fuzzy, hot core behind, rising slowly through the dense, liquid, metallic hydrogen. The heat slowly recedes. The pressure begins to ease, ever so gradually. We pass the delicate helium rain, rising upward through the immense magnetic dynamo. The hypnotic slowness of the ascent is deeply calming. Imagine slowly floating up from the bottom of a deep, dark pool, watching the water grow lighter and lighter as you approach the surface. Some might believe the myth that leaving a planet is always a violent, explosive event, but in our minds we can rise as gently as a bubble, savoring the slow transition back to the familiar. We transition back through the glowing supercritical fluid, watching the light slowly dim from brilliant white to deep red and finally back into total darkness. The immense water thunderstorms rumble in the distance once again, greeting us as we rise. We pass through the dark layers of ammonium hydrosulfide, feeling the pressure drop back to earthly levels. The air becomes thin, clear, and cold once again. Imagine breaking through a heavy layer of dark clouds in an airplane, suddenly emerging into a bright, clear blue sky. A common myth is that the deep atmosphere is a trap you can never escape. But the beauty of a thought experiment is that we are always free to return, unharmed and enriched by the experience. Finally, we rise through the top layer of freezing ammonia clouds. The bright, diffuse light of the distant sun returns. We break through the cloud tops, gently floating back out into the silent vacuum of space. The immense gravity of Jupiter releases its grip. We are floating freely once again, looking down at the magnificent, swirling sphere of colors. It looks just as peaceful, just as beautiful as it did before we fell. But now, we know the immense power and complexity that lies beneath its calm exterior. Picture stepping out of a dark, intense movie theater back into the bright, quiet light of day. Some believe the myth that knowing the secrets of a mystery makes it less beautiful. But understanding the deep, hidden layers of Jupiter only deepens our appreciation for its majestic beauty. We linger in the silent vacuum for a moment, taking a final, deep breath. The journey is complete. We have touched the untouchable and witnessed the invisible. The stress and noise of our daily lives feel incredibly distant now, lost in the vast, swirling storms of the gas giant. The universe is massive, powerful, and deeply mysterious, and we have been lucky enough to explore a small piece of it. Imagine closing a beautiful, ancient book, feeling a sense of deep satisfaction and peace. A common myth is that we are isolated and alone on Earth, but journeys like this remind us that we are intimately connected to the grand, ongoing story of the cosmos, a story written in starlight, gravity, and swirling gas. Our deeply relaxing, hypnotic descent into the heart of Jupiter has come to an end. We have traveled from the freezing vacuum of space through violent storms and crushing oceans of metallic liquid, all the way to a bizarre, dissolving core of exotic ice and rock. We have witnessed extreme physics that challenge our understanding, yet they are the very forces that shaped our solar system. The universe is a place of unimaginable extremes, but from a safe distance, it is profoundly beautiful and deeply calming. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey of the mind. I hope the immense scale of the gas giant has helped shrink your daily worries and brought you a sense of cosmic peace. If you found this journey relaxing and inspiring, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with fellow dreamers. Now, I want to hear from you. Which extreme environment should we explore next? Should we drift into the rings of Saturn, or perhaps fall toward a distant black hole? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and until next time, keep looking up.